Anyone who's watched my videos in the past knows that I talk a lot about anti-China hatred and misinformation that is being spread across Western mass media and by social media content creators. They do this either to discredit or disparage the Chinese government and the Chinese way of life for political reasons, or they do it simply to profit. Well, I'm finding videos now that are doing something a little bit different. They are actually spreading pro-China misinformation. What is pro-China misinformation, you might ask? Well, let's talk about it. 大家好，我是 Suran 在中国. Hey everyone, it's Suran in China. How y'all doing today? I hope you're having a lovely day. I am having a fantastic day because we finally did it. We hit 15,000 subscribers. 谢谢你们. Thank you all so much. I couldn't have done it without you. It's really easy if you want to be part of this movement. All you've got to do is hit that subscribe button down below and throw me a thumbs up. And hey, if you wanted to buy a guy a cup of coffee, there's a couple links over here or down in the description. I really do appreciate it. But thank you so much for helping me to realize one of my major goals with my YouTube channel. Now, today we're going to talk about something a little different before I head off on my annual trip to Thailand. Fear not, I have made some more video content that I will be putting out throughout the week while I'm gone, and I will also be doing some live streams from Thailand. So there will be content coming, but I wanted to make this video right now in particular because it deals with something that I found to be a little odd, and that is pro-China misinformation. I found a video from a gentleman on TikTok where he spreads a fantasy narrative which simply is not true when talking about working in China. Now, in the past I would have shared that clip with you, but YouTube is getting very serious about copyright infringement and copyright strikes. So I decided instead I would just share the information from this video with you and tell you why it's actually misinformation. Now, this person was talking about how simple it is to get a job in China and explains how the process goes. So the first thing he says is once you get hired by a good company. Okay, let's stop right there. It's not just as simple as getting hired by a good company. There are actually very few types of jobs in China that are actually hiring foreigners, period. It's not like if you are a barista or a construction worker or even a lawyer or a doctor in your home country that you can just pop on over here to China and do that job here. Wrong. China has 1.4 billion people. There is no lack of labor here. And immigration for labor purposes does not exist. Now, there are a few exceptions. For example, English teaching, and sometimes teaching in general in order to get a higher grade of education in their universities, or very specialized, high-end, very technical types of jobs. So if you are an English teacher or a math teacher, science teacher, things like that, the universities will be interested in you. Or if you happen to be a bleeding edge scientist, a top AI programmer, a corporate leader, a CEO, somebody of very high value in your industry with exceptional experience and qualifications, then yes, you could potentially find a job in China. However, in 90% of those cases, you are going to require a university degree, a 4-year program at an accredited university or college in your own country. It is no longer good enough to be just an English native speaker. That doesn't matter anymore. You need to be a degree holder. Now, in the case that you are a CEO or a top scientist or a massively successful leader in your industry back home, but for whatever reason you don't have a degree, there can be an exception made with an expert certificate. But you are going to have interviews with local government officials in order to prove that you are qualified. Otherwise, a degree is a must, no matter what the industry you're going into. And as China has such a massive population, 99% of the jobs will be filled by local people. It's not like Canada or America, where agriculture and construction is severely lacking laborers willing to do that work, and therefore do invite people from other countries in to do those jobs. China does not have that issue. Therefore, any other job than highly technical or teaching just simply don't exist. So is it simple to get a job in China? No, not at all. Now, he goes on to say that once you get hired by a good company, they're going to buy your ticket to get there. Wrong. Maybe 20 years ago, when China was desperate to westernize, desperate to globalize, and needed English teachers very, very badly, they would be willing to pay your airfare to come to China and work. But are they going to send you a ticket to your home so that you can fly over to China? Hell no. What they will do is, in the contract, they will negotiate that they will reimburse your ticket at the end of the contract. They're not going to send you money to fly to their country before they even know if you're going to stick around. Because a lot of people who come to work in China ultimately find out that they don't like working in China and go back home. So no company is going to take that kind of a chance. So they're going to expect you to buy your air ticket here. And then if it works out at the end of the year, they will reimburse you. So if you're expecting a company to send you a ticket in America or Canada so you can fly to China, good luck with that. Again, maybe if you're one of those golden employees, a CEO, a top scientist, the world-leading engineer, an AI programmer of the highest degree, maybe. But for everybody else, not going to happen. Now, he also goes on to say that they will help you get your visa. Yes. This is a no-brainer. You can't do your own work visa. The company has to help you do your visa. There's no other option. The company is the only one that can apply for it. So that's the most truthful statement out of everything he said. He then goes on to say they will ask you if you have a family, and if you do, they will buy you a bigger apartment. What? First and foremost, no company in China is buying you an apartment, especially someone who's not even there, that they've never met before. If you're applying from online, if they're not going to send you an airline ticket, are they going to buy you an apartment? I can only imagine that this guy misspoke several times and meant to say they will provide you with an apartment. Now, there are two scenarios where a company might provide you with housing. One, and the most common, is they will provide you a dormitory within the company facilities. Typically, a room not much bigger than the room I'm in now, with a bed, a sink, a small bathroom, and a very small kitchen. That's it. It will have air conditioning, it will have internet, things like that, but it is a dormitory along with all the other workers. I've had dormitories in factories before, and I've had dormitories in schools before, and they're all the same. Now, in those situations, yes, as you're living on the company campus, they will actually pay for that, and you won't have any expenses. However, much more common these days is the company providing a housing allowance. Because if you do have a big family, then they're not going to pay for everybody to come live in the school. That would be ridiculous. Or live in the factory. But they might offer you, as part of your salary, a housing allowance so that you can rent your own place that suits your needs. This is getting more common, but it really does depend on the kind of job. Not every company is even going to offer housing anymore. They're just going to offer you a salary. Okay. Now, on that note, he mentions that you can negotiate your own salary. Golden child, CEO, top engineer, scientist, maybe. Teacher, or working in a factory in any other position, no. You can negotiate up to a point, but you're not going to be able to just set your own salary and the company is going to accept it. No company anywhere in the world is going to do that. You can negotiate it to a degree, but you can't set it yourself. Now, he goes on to say that you can get a great salary like $2,000, $3,000, or $4,000 a month. Obviously, this person has never lived in China and doesn't really know the cost of living here, but $2,000, $3,000, or $4,000 a month is not a good salary in China for a foreigner. There are kindergarten teachers, literal kindergarten teachers that play with babies for 4 to 5 hours a day that get $7,000 to $10,000. If you are working in a more technical or higher end job, you can expect to be paid even more. So when he says, "Oh, you can get $2,000, $3,000, or $4,000 a month, a great salary," that's not a great salary. It's not a great salary even back home in Canada or America. That's a moderate salary. It might be a living salary here because of the lower cost of living here, but it's not a great salary. And then he also talks about the free apartment, not necessarily, no expenses or bills. Well, unless you're living on the company campus, you are going to have expenses and bills. You're going to have to pay for commuting. You're going to have to pay for your electricity, your gas, your water, your internet. You're going to have to pay for your food, any of your daily costs, etc. You will have expenses. So if you're getting $2,000 a month and then you rent a big place for you and your family, it's not going to be that great a job, is it? Now, the next thing he says is that they will pay for your round trip tickets for holidays to go home. So they're going to pay for you to come to China up front, and then they're going to pay for you to go back home for holidays? Wrong. Again, this doesn't happen. Most companies, if they offer airfare reimbursement at all, will do so during Spring Festival. Because when your holidays are happening, let's take Christmas, everybody else here is still working. So the company is going to pay your airfare home at the most expensive time of year during the time that the company is operating. So your classes won't have a teacher. So the other engineers that work with you in your department won't have you there to work with. Really? No, not going to happen. There was a time when they might have done that 20 years ago, but now simply not going to happen. It's bad economic sense to buy air tickets at the most expensive time of year at a time when the company is still operating. More than likely, they will include a bonus during Chinese New Year so they can give you the airfare reimbursement for the year, if that is a thing, and a little bonus so you can go home then when the company in China is closed, which would make more economical sense. But just to send you home for holidays, as this person implied, not going to happen. And he implied holidays, not just one. Find me any company in the world that's just going to pay me to go home for Christmas and for New Year's and for whatever other holidays throughout the year that would be deemed necessary to fly home for. No, simply not going to happen. Now, a lot of this is just pure fabrication on this creator's part. It is a fantasy world that people would like to believe exists, but as somebody who's been here for 20 years and has known hundreds, if not thousands, of other foreigners and other foreign workers here, I can tell you it doesn't happen. It's not that way. Now, the salaries here are good, better than this gentleman suggested, and the cost of living here is exceptionally low, but that doesn't make it a dream job, right? The companies aren't going to bend over backwards and pay for your airfare up front, buy you a home, and everything else sight unseen. That's just not true. So why would a person like this make this video? Easy. At the end of the video, he says, I can help you go to China. Join my Instagram. Subscribe to my feed. Do this, do this. This is simply a way to get your attention and get his social media bumped up. He wants viewers, subscribers, and money, period. That's the only reason I could see for making this video, because so much of the information that he shares is completely false. It simply doesn't work that way in real life. Wouldn't it be nice if there were employers out there that were willing to do all that? But it's simply not going to happen. For 90% of the people overseas who want to come work in China, unless you're a degree holder and unless you're willing to work as a teacher or in some ultra exclusive high-level job, China's not the right place for you. It's just simply not going to happen. And I've been getting a lot of questions recently about people saying, I want to come buy a house like you did in China. I want to experience that low cost of living. I want to come and retire there or live there and work there. Realistically, there are a lot of reasons why that isn't reality either. Even if you're not relying on a job, even if you happen to be financially independent and just want to come buy a house here and experience the good life like I've got myself, well, there are a number of factors that play into that. And I'm going to make another video specifically on that topic. But for now, when you see these videos, and there will probably be more and more of them, of people saying, go get a great job in China, they're going to give you this, they're going to give you this, they're going to give you this, they're going to give you this. It's a fantasy. It's a unicorn, a pink elephant. It's a nice idea, but it doesn't actually exist. In the long run, this person is going to ask you for something. Subscribe, pay this, buy this course, pay me for this consulting fee, etc., etc., etc. These people are setting you up to profit themselves, and in the case of this gentleman, profit from something that they know absolutely nothing about. Anyway, that's an interesting topic for today, but I'm going to stop it there. I don't want this to go on too long. Like I said, I am getting ready for my trip to Thailand. So again, I've got a couple more videos coming out sharing my local environment here with the new house. I'm going to do some live streams in Thailand to show you the environment and show you how things are there in contrast to the way they are here in China, whether culturally, financially, economically, etc. And then once I get back, it'll be back to the grind. We'll be talking about everything to do with China, living here, and the changes that China is making in the world. So there you go. Thank you again for helping me reach 15,000 subscribers. And thank you as always for joining me today on the video. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate all of your comments, and I appreciate your support. 谢谢你们 and 再见. We will see you in the next video.